Am I the a-hole for not giving my son more allowance even though he is going hungry? Am I the a-hole for a text message I sent to my potentially infertile daughter? Am I the a-hole for agreeing with the school when they dress coded my daughter? Am I the a-hole for telling my wife I don't care about her dreams? Am I wrong for assuming my fiance and I are exclusive? 2 tampons may mean my marriage is over. I'm to a cartoon character that looks like a platypus. Am I the a-hole for a text message I sent to my potentially infertile daughter? My wife, 65 female, and I, 67 male, have 2 kids, Sarah, 38 female, and Adam, 35 male. Both have spouses whom we love dearly. Sarah got married 5 years ago. Adam got married 4 years ago. Sarah and her husband, Joey, 38 male, have been trying for kids since they got married, but got delayed due to unforeseen circumstances, and they are now going through IVF. Adam and his wife, Clarissa, 32 female, put off having kids for a couple of years while Adam was in med school, but then started trying for kids. It's been really hard for Sarah and Joey to have kids, and there have been several complications, but things are now back on track. However, due to the length of time it's taking, Sarah is becoming more and more depressed. We're trying to support her, but there's only so much we can do. The doctors haven't told her she can't have kids, but it's getting less and less likely as she grows older. Adam and Clarissa recently found out that they're expecting a child, much to their and our excitement. However, they're hesitating about how to tell Sarah. Adam really looks up to his older sister. They're very close, as my wife and I worked a lot when they were younger and my kids only had each other for a while. Adam didn't want to cause his sister more emotional distress, but he wanted to tell her before Clarissa became very pregnant. Adam decided to just call Sarah and tell her directly. From what he told us later, she did not take it well at all. She wished him a perfunctory congratulations and has been incommunicado since then. We tried to respect her privacy while she processed this, but eventually I had enough. Adam's upset that his sister isn't happy for him. Clarissa is hurt that her sister-in-law isn't supportive, and my wife misses her daughter. Eventually, I called Sarah, got her voicemail, and left her a very angry message telling her that even if she can't have kids, she should be happy for her brother and that she can at least be an aunt. Sarah sent me one angry text message with a lot of expletives and told me not to contact her again. When I showed this to my wife, she got upset at me and said I should have worded the text nicer, but I said that infertility isn't an excuse for rude behavior. Really? We're putting this in r/am I the devil? Where OP is the a-hole here is like, that's number one, definitely a more delicate type of conversation, not a conversation where you're gonna get anywhere by expressing anger towards the other party. That's not a conversation that you relay over text message. That is a in-person conversation that you treat very, very delicately. I think the right thing was to say something to her, but just not as aggressive as OP did it. Like, I do think the sister is being, I don't know if selfish is the right word, but like, she should at the end of the day be happy for her brother that he has a baby. Even if she can't get one herself, it's honestly selfish not to just be like, hey, you know what? I know I've been struggling with this, and obviously that makes me sad, but I am really happy that you get a kid. And everyone sucks here fits more appropriately. I'm just not seeing the devil part. OP is the a-hole for just not handling it more delicately, but I do think it's right for OP to like call the sister out on it. As he said, their tone is way off and she needs to be more understanding that it's hard to watch other people so close to you get exactly what you can't have. Yeah, but I also think it's a little bit selfish. I'm not going to be happy for this person because I can't have that. If you're like looking for your husband and struggling, right? And then your best friend is like, hey, I'm getting married. Like, I don't think that person has the right to give them a cold shoulder just because they're like, ugh, they have something I don't have. Am I the a-hole for agreeing with the school when they dress coded my daughter and not fighting it? This is about my youngest. I would like to start off by saying the dress code is very reasonable. The rule is don't see undergarments, and this affects the guys more than the girls. The pants not being held up, boxers are seen thing. I have 3 kids and the older 2 have never been dress coded. Now my daughter came home and she was in her gym clothes and she got dress coded. It came with a school email and a picture of the shirt. They took the picture after my daughter changed and it was a swim top cover up. It's sheer. This makes complete sense to me why she was dress coded. She got a warning and that was that. Now my daughter and oldest daughter are pissed that I didn't stick up for her. My sister is now on my ass since the kids told her and they all think I'm a jerk. What is a swim top cover up? Oh, like this? I feel like we need to know what this looks like, because like this would be okay. I feel like, you know, like this isn't bad, although it's still a little see-through. I think this would at least be like raise an eyebrow, but maybe no one will call you out. But like if it's this, that's understandable. I mean, they didn't include any ages, but like if you show up to like a college class in this or something, it's a little weird. But like, hey, it's college, you can do whatever you want, I guess. But like if you're in high school and you're showing up in something like this, Nah, I think that's an easy not the a-hole. What are we feeling, chat? What are we feeling? OP said it was sheer, so see-through. Okay. Like, I'm all for, like, yo, let women wear whatever they want to wear, but in the right setting, right? Prince of Darkness says, yeah, OP said it was sheer. I don't like dress codes, but you don't need to be wearing something sheer at school. Nobody needs to see your bra. I don't know, anything that's like what people might wear to a bar or a club, that's where I'm like, I don't know if they should wear that to like school then. Am I the a-hole for telling my parents and brother that if they wanted his ex removed from my wedding pictures, they had to pay for it? My brother goes through women like I go through socks. I gave him a +1 for my wedding 2 years ago. He brought his girlfriend of that time. When we were doing the family pictures, he wanted his girlfriend in the pictures. I said we could do some with her and some without. He got mad that I allowed my sister to have her fiance in all the pictures, and my other brother was allowed to have his boyfriend of 5 years, but that I had the audacity to exclude his girlfriend of the week. My parents said that they didn't want any fighting and to just include her. They were paying for everything, so I said fine. She isn't in all our pictures, just the ones with our family and both families. Now my brother is engaged and we had the family over last weekend. His fiance saw our wedding picture on the wall and got into a fight with my brother. He never told her that he'd been in a serious relationship with her nemesis. He tried explaining that they only dated a very short while. She called BS because she was included in the family picture. She asked to see our wedding album. Sure enough, the girl was in multiple pictures with the family and the in-laws. My brother finally calmed her down, but has asked me to take down the picture or have his ex removed. I said that it was expensive, so he would have to pay for it. He tried complaining to our parents. They said that I was being childish. I reminded them that they are the ones who insisted I give in to him. I said that they are welcome to pay for the editing. They said I was a jerk and they already paid for the pictures once. I wish they would have said the ages of the kids, because I would put so much money on this being the baby of the family. Like, I could totally see something exactly like this happening with like the youngest in my family. Yeah, definitely not the a-hole. Give him a taste of his own medicine. This brother sounds so slimy to me, bro. Like, he didn't tell his fiance that he like shortly dated his her nemesis. Am I the a-hole for telling my wife I don't care about her dreams? My wife wants to be an influencer on TikTok and YouTube. She has been creating mommy content. Anything with your kid in it is just like, dude, just like feed it and that's it. Maybe take a couple cute pictures and videos here, but like if you wake up and you're like, all right, gotta make a video with this whole ass human I pushed out of my cooter. How about no? She's been creating mommy content and content about her day-to-day life. When she told me this is something she wanted to do, I didn't have a problem with it. I only said that I don't want our children, 4 male, 2 female, in any of her content. I didn't monitor her channel because it didn't really seem necessary. I recently watched her channel because I thought it would be cute to see what she does in her day-to-day life. I found our children's faces in almost all of her content. I told her straight up she needs to remove all of her content. She said that she knew I wouldn't agree, but she doesn't think this is a big deal. I don't like children content. I feel like a lot of the time when you see that children make profit, they become less of your kids and more of a product, and your interactions become more performative. And I can see the same thing has happened in her because she posted a video of her getting our 2-year-old out of a tantrum and how she deals with it. But how is your first instinct to record and hold a camera whilst our baby is crying? She started crying, saying that she built this up and this is her dream and deleting her content will ruin it. And I said I simply don't give an F. If you don't delete it, I will consider a divorce. I know a lot of people have children on their social media, and I don't mind an Instagram or Facebook post, but to make videos seems too intimate to share. She told her friends and even hinted on her social media accounts that she has an over-controlling and narcissistic husband who wants to be the influencer. And this is also coming from a quote-unquote influencer. Like, narcissistic husband that doesn't want her on social media and currently being ridiculed by her friends. Am I being over-controlling or narcissistic? Someone asked what kind of content. The content isn't really harmful, just her feeding them and playing with them, but the 2 types of videos I have a problem with is her recording our children's tantrums and our 2-year-old still doesn't like clothes. Yeah, wait, whoa, what? She's just like filming your baby in diapers and just no. And our 2-year-old still doesn't like clothes. We are trying to get her to wear them more, but our house can be hot, so she's in a diaper a lot. I don't like the videos of our daughters in her diaper. Hey, here's an idea. Don't put videos of your kids just in their diapers on the internet, because you want to know who's on the internet? Really disgusting people. I'm trying to think, like if I had a kid and I was a full-time creator, the way Casey Neistat, like he just tries to keep his kids' faces out of the videos. And it's not like he's like, oh, here's a baby, like milk it for views. Like, kind of want it to be like how I treat Beans. Like Beans, people are like, you should make a video, or you should make an Instagram account for Beans. And I'm like, fucking no. That's my boy. He's here for me. And like, if I want to share a cute picture on my story, or if I think of like a really funny TikTok idea, I'll throw them up really quick. That's how I want my kid to be like my cat. Izzy says, not the a-hole, she went against boundaries, and with the amount of family channels that end up damaging the children's well-being being in front of the camera all the time. That's the other thing, is she just straight up disrespected her partner's wishes. Like, you can still make a video about what you do during a tantrum without actually being like, oh my god, my kid's having a tantrum. What is up, guys? It's your boy Sarby here. So my kid in the back is throwing a tantrum. As you can see, look at that little fucking idiot. And today I'm gonna be showing you how I get him to shut the fuck up. Like, that is so crazy. That is so insane. Am I the a-hole for not giving my son more allowance even though he's going hungry at practice? I came here because I am annoyed. Maybe I am wrong, but the situation is odd. Everyone in the family gets an allowance. My son, 15, is in swim and he has to be there at 5:45 3 times a week. It's morning practice and then he goes to school. Now he usually will buy breakfast from the school cafe and then all his money is gone. My daughters don't buy breakfast and will just eat before school or skip, so their allowance is mostly saved or used for the movies or something. My son came to me and asked for more allowance due to being hungry. I told him no and that he can eat before or pack something. We got in a huge argument. He thinks I'm a jerk and now my ex is on my ass about it. Am I being unreasonable? Am I the a-hole for not feeding my son? Okay, I'll sit down with him tonight and show him how to pack a breakfast. I feel like that's going to go over extremely poorly since he is 15 and I am basically saying he doesn't know how to put fruit or other stuff in a bag. We have breakfast bars, protein bars, single serve cereal boxes, the standard bagels, eggs, Pop-Tarts, Okay, so you have food, like when my parents gave me an allowance, the allowance wasn't for like, I need to eat today. The allowance was for like, oh, I kind of want to go to a movies with my friends, or I want to buy a new Xbox game. Looks like you only made $15 this week. Sorry, hopefully you won't starve. Like, that's so crazy. I do have to say though, like, is the son stupid? Like, it does. Beans is on top of my computer and I'm gonna take him off because he doesn't do it often, but sometimes he'll hit the power button. Beans is OP the a-hole. Wow, what an opinion. Controversial. You can't say that, Beans. You're gonna get canceled. We have breakfast bars, protein bars, single serve cereal boxes, the standard bagels, eggs, Pop-Tarts, those breakfast bowls, and a ton of fruit, bananas, strawberries, and so on, all from a comment. We have plenty of food you can pack for after or just eat breakfast at home. Also, I'm not going to force my daughter to eat breakfast if they are not hungry in the morning. That's a horrible idea. Here's the thing. Should the son at the age of 15 be able to be like, I am hungry and don't want to waste all my allowance on food at school. I should pack something. Is it on him to do that? Probably a little bit, but also you are his parent. Like, do it for your kid. What'd you say? They have to go 5:45 3 times a week. I think 3 days a week you can wake up at like, because you're probably driving the kid there anyways, get up at like 5 and just like wake them up and then just throw some stuff together really quick and give it to your kid. Problem solved. It's not like a money thing. It doesn't even sound like it's really a money thing. It sounds like a lack of common sense thing. To be honest, I think he can eat at home and pack something. It's not difficult. Yeah, sorry, I didn't clarify that. I think everyone sucks here. I get what they're saying with the allowance thing. Like, if it's like, oh, hey, you have this food and you just refuse to pack. But then also, if your kid's like going hungry, I think that's when you sit down and you're like, okay, so like, let's figure this out together because it's really not that hard. r/am I wrong? Am I racist? I work in a gas station where I'm the only white person. My coworkers are all black. Every time a customer is rude, it's because they're racist, and they have even yelled at the customer. While I know racist a-holes do come in here and make racist remarks, not everyone is racist. Some people are just a-holes or having a bad day. We have the super old white guy who comes in almost daily buying lottery tickets. He's always sweet and polite to everyone. He's never made one comment that would point to him being racist in any way. He was in here yesterday and they started saying how he's probably racist because he's old and white. I spoke up and said not every white person is racist. This followed with dead silence and side eyes. Then I was told I can't say that because I'm white and that makes me racist. They said I'll never understand what it's like being black, which I agree with 100%, and I need to walk in their shoes. I know racism is alive and well in America. I don't deny that. I grew up with a really racist family, but I like to think I broke that cycle for me and my kids, and I no longer speak to anyone on that side of my family. I also think what my coworkers are doing is wrong too, because they are judging someone based solely on the color of their skin and not anything they've actually done. Am I wrong? Am I racist? First off, I don't think OP's racist at all. I think these types of people do more harm by calling things that aren't actually racist. I think Gaslight had a very similar progression where like all of a sudden everybody was using the word gaslight, but then everyone was using the word gaslight wrong, saying that something was gaslighting when it's really not. It's just like almost like a weapon that people can use. It's like a word weapon. And I think that's what the word racist is sometimes, because I've had this like exact same conversation with people where they're like, this thing that really isn't racist is racist. I don't know, like especially in this point where they're like, oh, he's old and white, so therefore he's racist. That's just an assumption, like you have nothing backing that. And then for the OP to stand up and they're being like, you know what, you standing up makes you racist. That's where I'm like, dude, no, it doesn't. Like, it's not like he's saying slurs to you guys or saying that white people should be above. He was just being like, hey, I don't think we can really make the assumption that this dude is racist. He's actually pretty nice. Like, that's just telling the truth. These types of people, I think, just like hurt like people who are actually standing up for racism. I feel like I'm not allowed to have an opinion on this. I'm scared to say something wrong and get canceled. Bro, see, that's the other part is like, you should be able to have these discussions even if you don't completely understand them. I have a lot of gay friends, and some of my best discussions I have with them, I'm like, hey, I might ask a really insensitive question, but it's not because I'm homophobic or like don't like you guys, like you guys know that. It's because I genuinely just want to understand these certain things. Like, it's almost worse that you're like, I'm scared to say something because I'm worried about getting canceled. It should be like, no, like you should be able to say things, and if you say something wrong, someone should be able to politely correct you. Am I wrong for assuming my fiance and I are exclusive? Angie, 24 female, and I, 24 male, have been dating for 6 years now and living together for 1 year. She proposed to me last month. Yesterday, my friend saw her at a nightclub kissing another guy. He sent me a picture and I confronted her over it. She admitted that she's still sleeping with other guys and told me that while she and I love each other, we never had an official discussion about being exclusive. We never had an official discussion about being exclusive and haven't gotten married yet. So technically, it's not cheating. Like, WTF, we're literally engaged. That just struck me as so crazy. I just don't know what to think, say, or do right now. I moved out of her apartment, leaving all the stuff she's given me over there. Only took stuff I got myself. Angie's been messaging me non-stop. That sounds like a Hail Mary gaslight. They're like, I've been caught. Well, technically, we never talked about being exclusive. I thought exclusivity is assumed until said otherwise. Yes, that's what I'm saying. You're right. Technically, we probably didn't talk about being exclusive, but also that was implied. I masturbated to a cartoon character that looks like a platypus. I am 17 weeks pregnant. My libido is through the roof. I am going crazy like an animal in heat. I started having crushes on cartoon characters. Right now, it is Perry the Platypus from Phineas and Ferb. I know he is an animal, but is a fucking secret agent. My husband and I used to roleplay James Bond a lot, but not anymore. I started watching that show at the start of my pregnancy. I was weirdly attracted towards that greenish blue platypus. He has really smooth moves and very much intelligent for a platypus. I love that, like, OP is like, okay, but like, hear me out. Like, he's like, hear me out. I don't know what the fuck I'm saying. It's just a word vomit. But the crush got so intense that I had a weird sex dream. Yesterday, I imagined my husband like a greenish blue platypus, and he was making the same... I can't make it. I cannot say this to a soul. My husband doesn't use Reddit, so he cannot find out. I masturbated to that image multiple times. I feel guilty and I'm so ashamed. I don't know. People have role played some weird stuff. I feel like if you like told your husband, you're just like, yo, this is where my pregnant brain is at. Like, I feel like if my like wife, who was about to be the mother of my child, came to me and was like, hey man, so like, this is just how I be feeling. Those pregnancy hormones go crazy. I'd be like, you know what, babe? You're the one who has to push a baby out of her cooter. I can put on some blue body paint and a detective hat and perfect the sound, you know? Like, this might be weird, but let's face it, your husband is not as good as Barry the Platypus. So this is pretty based. Shit like this is why I can't be pregnant. 2 tampons may mean my marriage is over. I, 29 female, have been with my husband, 30 male, for 7 years, married 4. I've never had a reason to suspect he was unfaithful to me or even remotely dissatisfied with our marriage. He likes to joke that we're still living the honeymoon phase, nearly 5 years and 2 kids in. I wouldn't have questioned that or him were it not for a surprise I found in his car last month. When buckling our daughter into her car seat, I noticed something slotted between the cushions. I pulled it out and saw that it was a tampon. This wouldn't have been so unusual had I not had an IUD that has stopped my period for the past year. And I didn't even recognize the wrapper style. I brought it to my husband's attention and he didn't seem to understand what it was, let alone why I was holding it, until I told him where I'd found it and why I was almost certain it wasn't mine. He shrugged and said it probably belonged to his coworker, Fiona. It's not uncommon for my husband to carpool to lunch with his coworkers, and we're both fairly close to Fiona and her husband. I figured it was entirely possible the tampon had slipped out of her purse whenever he had driven with them or offered her a ride. No big deal. I put it out of my mind until we had dinner with Fiona and her husband a couple weeks later. I had sincerely wanted to believe my husband. I just couldn't get over the way it had been tucked in the seat and how my husband had seemed not to have any regard for it whatsoever. Maybe playing dumb. I don't know. I did something that I now feel kind of crazy for doing. I faked an emergency and asked Fiona if she had any tampons while we were out together. She handed me one almost identical to the tampon I found in our back seat, and I breathed a sigh of relief. So the tampon there was probably the same tampon here, and in all likelihood, there was an innocent explanation as to why it had been left in the back seat in the first place. I thought I'd seen the last of the out-of-place feminine hygiene products until I found another tampon this morning, this time in my sock drawer. I feel physically ill at the thought of my husband having an affair, and even more nauseated at the thought that the woman might have left these tampons out for me to find. If it was my husband's coworker, why would she give herself away by offering me one the other night? In any other situation, I would want to talk to my husband about this, but I feel too sick and embarrassed to approach him with what I found. I'm trying to think, like, the car makes a lot of sense to me. Maybe he was hooking up with somebody in the car and then it fell out and got lodged in the seat. But the sock drawer is like, even if he was cheating on you, how did this end up in the sock drawer? This time in my sock drawer. Is there any possible way she could have, like, that the tampon that she borrowed from Fiona could have ended up in her sock drawer? Do you guys know what I'm saying? OP, before you confront your husband, get more evidence. I cannot tell you how many times my dad or my brother just chuck things in a random drawer because they don't know where they belong, but they still want to help. If the two previous tampons, Cars and Fiona's, are not 100% accounted for, I would say there's a chance the one you found in your drawer is one of those. That's what I was thinking. However, it is suspicious. If I were you, before planting a camera that would completely break your husband's trust in the case he is not cheating, I would start becoming more unpredictable with my movements. Come back early from work when you can, or go on a girls' night, but come back way earlier than usual. If he is cheating, chances are you will catch him. Like, I'm just trying to think of, like, if you're getting cheated on, how did this tampon end up in your sock drawer? People might be like, oh, like the woman is trying to tell her, but you think the woman would just go outright and tell her. You know what I'm saying? Send her one of those, hey girly, like Instagram DMs. There's a better way to tell the person, like, hey, yo, you're getting cheated on, by like dropping a tampon in the sock drawer. I do think it is possible that the same tampon is the one, because, like, she didn't use it, so, like, it had to go somewhere unless she threw it away. Like, maybe there's a possibility that that same tampon is the one that ended up into her sock drawer. I have never had an orgasm. Was Mormon and married way too young, knowing nothing about sex. Wedding night was my first time. I've been married about 15 years. If I didn't fake an orgasm, my husband would get upset, like I was doing something wrong or I didn't find him attractive. I had to tell him how great he was in bed. It felt like it lasted forever and he would just keep going until I faked one. It was miserable. He wanted sex at least once a day, but usually I could only do it 3 times per week. He acted like I was depriving him if I wasn't in the mood. My idea was we both should be in the mood to have sex. Yeah. You know, that thing, consent. I know Mormonism didn't really start off with consent, but we should prioritize that. He disagreed and would bother me incessantly until we had sex. He wasn't forceful, just annoying. My divorce will be final this month. I love having the bed to myself. I love that I have a bedroom to myself. I love waking up with no one there and no expectation of sex every time we are in the bedroom together. I didn't divorce him over sex. It's because he's a controlling a-hole. Him not touching me is the cherry on top. See, that's why I don't fuck with religion right there. Especially Mormonism, bro. Seeing the dudes, the Mormon dudes that I went to school with in high school, getting married, I'm like, that girl is never gonna have an orgasm. If you enjoyed, click right here to watch another one of my Reddit videos, and hit subscribe so you don't miss out on new messy Reddit threads every week.